These aren't breathtaking views of Iceland or the remote steppes of Mongolia. This is Lesotho, a tiny landlocked country in southern Africa and one of the most underrated destinations out there. But why venture out here? Doesn't South Africa have it all? No, it does not. They call Lesotho the kingdom in the sky. It is one of the last remaining monarchies in Africa, and the country with the highest, lowest elevation in the world. Most people will venture out here for a day trip to Sunny Pass, one of the most dangerous mountain passes in the world, but only a few will spend time in the country. They're missing out. Visiting Lesotho is like traveling back in time. People are still heavily reliant on horses. The Bosiu people wear traditional blankets instead of jackets because of its altitude and lack of pollution. This is one of the best places in the world for stargazing, and you probably won't come across many, if any, tourists. Let me show you what a few days in Lesotho is like. I normally travel independently, but there are some countries where I'd highly recommend a guide. This is one of them. Keketso was highly recommended to us by another traveler, and this is what allowed us to see the country in depth. We started off with a visit to the Thaba Bosiu cultural village, where we got to learn firsthand about the country and how it came to be. The most interesting part was learning about the ongoing traditions of the Bosiu people. After that, we set off to the main tourist attraction in the country, and one that's really worth the hype. Maletsunyane Falls, the site of the world's longest commercially operated abseil. If that's not your thing, you can also hike down to the basin. 192 meters tall. This is one of the tallest single drop waterfalls in the world. It's winter in southern Africa, and even then you can appreciate the power of the water when the flow is not as strong. If you can't do this hike, which was a bit slippery, especially during winter, you can always stay on the top and admire the sights from there. There's also a restaurant you can get food and drinks from after your hike. Whatever you do, make sure to finish this specific part of Lesotho before it gets dark. The roads are not that great. On our next day, our guide Keketso took us on some hiking trails to some of the spots locals hang out in. The amazing thing about this guide is not only his knowledge, his love for the country, or how much he knows about all the hidden spots. It's the fact that he'll adapt to all budgets. Whether you already have a car, need one, or you're simply willing to take local transport or hitchhike, he'll do it all with you. We took a local taxi that morning since we're overlanding Africa without a car, and walked through the rural areas and admire the way the people live here from a distance. Traditional houses, cattle, and stunning views, all to ourselves. Later that afternoon, while navigating the less than ideal roads of Lesotho, we were taken to the Baroana cave paintings, which are over 2,000 years old. To see mankind expressing themselves through figures that can be understood by the whole world is fascinating, and if you've never seen cave paintings before, I highly recommend you come here. It's small, but worth it. This was how we finished our day. On our last day, we did an activity that goes beyond all the perceptions we might have of the African continent. We went skiing. Yes, skiing in Africa. There are actually a few skiing and winter resorts scattered across the continent. Lesotho happens to be the one with the highest elevation. This is Afriski. This year was not fully operational, but there was enough artificial snow to make the most of our time here. Even though the temperatures are ideal for snow, it's also very sunny here, even during winter, which means that snow can melt. The entrance fee is usually around $7 but check their Facebook page beforehand to make sure there are no special events going on. This means it could be closed to the general public, or they can increase the price for a certain festival or activity. While I might be a beginner at skiing, it was our guide and driver's first time ever skiing.
This is Katleho, and this is your first time skiing, correct? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? You might fall. Yay! And Ben's here, the expert. Teach him how to do it.
There was skiing, snowboarding, and tubing available. The restaurant on site was also reasonably priced and perfect for some lunch and some hot beverages after a long day outside. We came right towards the middle of Lesotho's winter, and there wasn't much snow left then. Come earlier to make the most of the snow and activities here. We still did. And this was the end of our Lesotho trip. I'm so grateful we decided to stay longer than everybody else, and we barely scratched the surface. And yet, we got to hang out with locals who learned so much about the way that they live here. I'll be linking Keketso's details here. Most companies that come to the country are from South Africa. Book a local guide instead. This is the best way to help the local economy. On our drive back to Maseru, the capital, we had the perfect ending to our trip. It was the king's birthday, and there were fireworks on display all over the city. I didn't get as much footage as I would have liked to, but I hope this inspires you to visit Lesotho if you're ever in South Africa. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more travel tips and stories from around.